the screen? Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. So we're going to start with this presentation, which is about against here. We've not gone to school and we are all managing online. So we will also include cyberbullying in this. Is that good? Now, here it says 5th November marks the first international day against violence and bullying. So we've just started it, it was yesterday, and that was the first international day against violence and bullying. And you people are online all the time, and I'm sure you've faced this cyberbullying sometime or the other. Maybe you are on the other side, maybe you are the one who's bullying, or maybe you're being bullied, or you've seen somebody else, or one of the friends getting bullied. Okay, now we are also talking about violence and bullying at school. So when we talk about violence and bullying at school, I also mean that if you're hurting somebody's, knowingly or unknowingly, that is also bullying. Okay, maybe you don't have that kind of intention of hurting somebody, but you never know. Maybe your actions hurt somebody, right? So that is also kind of bullying, and it has a very negative impact on the person who is being bullied, right? Maybe you are doing it for fun, maybe you're just teasing them, just like that, but you don't know how the other person is taking it, right? It might have a lifelong impact on that person, and that is why we are talking about this. Okay, everybody needs to be very sensitive about how this goes, whether any of your actions is taking a toll on somebody's mental health or physical health, anything, right? So even for fun, you should know where your limit is. You shouldn't cross your limits, right? Okay, so we'll look at a few points and I want you to go through them. I want Parth Chug, you will read the first point that you can see on the screen. Are you able to see it clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just increase the size of the presentation. Just a second. Yes.
School violence and bullying, including cyberbullying, is widespread and affects a significant number of children and adolescents.
Okay. What does this mean? Who can explain? Yes, who can explain this? Anybody here? You can raise your hands to answer. Come on, class. Nobody knows what this means? Yes, Arnav?
I'm actually being as a small kid, you sometimes don't understand what it would be. So if anybody does any type, even if a person like hits somebody, it's violence only. But we sometimes don't categorize that.
Exactly. And it also a significant number of children. That means whether you realize it or not, it is happening, at very basic level, as in, like you said, you don't realize that you are bullying a person, but it depends on how the other person takes it, right? It might be a fun factor for you, but the other person might take it too seriously, right? And it is happening very commonly in schools, right? Schools and colleges, I would say. Okay. The next point, Madhav, can you read the next point, please?
Yes, ma'am. Almost 1 in 3 students has been bullied by their peers at school at least once in a month, and a similar proportion are affected by physical violence.
Do you agree that? Do you agree with
Yes,
that?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
yes,
right?
Yes.
Whether it is you or your friend or somebody, uh, in whatever form, maybe it is not in a serious form, maybe it is not been, remembered for a longer period, but yes, some, kids are being bullied, Even if you're asking somebody forcefully to, get a glass of water for me just because you are a senior to somebody, or force somebody to do something which against his or her wish, that is bullying, right? It might be a very small thing for you. You just asked for a glass of water, but you don't know what impact it makes on the other person's mind. Okay. Now the third point, who's going to read? Pari.
Yes, ma'am. There are significant negative effects from the violence, including on academic achievement, mental health, and quality of life in general.
Yeah. So, like I have been repeating, that we might take it for fun, but we don't know how the other person is taking it, right? He might take it too seriously and it might affect his mental health, right? He might keep thinking about it again and again. He might lose interest. He might not want to come to school or to online classes. He might feel, depressed or low due to whatever has happened with him, right? Okay. The next one, Ronak.
Yes, ma'am. Children who are frequently bullied are nearly 3 times more likely to feel like an outsider at school and more than twice as likely to miss school as those who are not frequently bullied.
Right. So I'm sure you must have noticed that there are few kids who are, not interested in sitting in a group or talking to everyone. They're not very comfortable. Maybe one reason could be that they are like that. They are introverts. Some people like it, like to be with themselves. Some people are more open, right? But another very important reason could be that maybe they're being bullied and they're not liking coming to school, and maybe they're coming there only because the parents force them to go to school, or something like this. And these kinds of kids, they tend to actually drop out because they're not interested. They don't want to study more. They're they're getting disturbed internally. Maybe they're not showing it, but they are disturbed internally, and then they lose interest in their studies. They're not concentrating because every time they're only thinking about the bullying that has happened, or constant bullying that keeps happening. Okay. Now next one, Kavish, can you read the last point, please?
Yes, ma'am. They have worse educational outcomes than their peers and are also more likely to leave formal education after finishing secondary school.
Exactly. So once they are on their own, till school level, maybe the parents keep pushing them to go to school. But when they are on their own, they may lose interest. They may even drop out of school. They may even take a wrong path for their life, right? So although it is a very small thing at school level, but you don't know how the life of a person may get affected due to this, right? Okay. Now, this is a poster which says, "Be a buddy, not a bully." How many of you feel that you agree with this? Raise your hands, everyone. The ones who agree with this, please raise your hands. Very good. And how many of you have ever in your life stopped somebody else doing this to someone else? Done that? Have you ever tried and stopped anybody else from bullying somebody else?
Mom never stopped but tried to stop.
Tried to stop? Yeah, of course. That you just have to give it a try, right? Yes.
Ma'am, when it
Anybody else?
exceeds,
Yes.
ma'am, when it exceeds, I try to stop.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody wants to share any experience related to this? If you've seen something like this happening, if you've faced it yourself and you feel comfortable sharing it so that others benefit. Anybody here? So looks like you are the lucky lot, right? You people are
Yes,
all
ma'am, with
good.
God's grace.
Yes, good. You should always be like this, and you should be strong enough to face it. In case you ever have to face it, you should be very strong, and you should know that nobody can do anything wrong with you, right? They don't have the right to do anything wrong with you. You have to be very strong. Okay? Maybe they're just doing it for fun, so you should also take it as fun. But in case you think it is exceeding your limits, then you have to stop it, right? Then you have to be very strong and say no, you can't do this. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Kindness trumps violence. Who can explain me what this means? Pratham, can you try? Pratham?
I think it means that kindness helps remove violence.
Okay, it helps remove violence. Anybody else has a different take on it? Dwayne? Yes, Dwayne, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Do you feel what Pratham just said is right? Do you agree with him?
Yes. Like kindness can help reduce the violence that is in the society. If people are more nicer to each other, they'll reduce fighting, and like there'll be like more agreements instead of disagreements.
Okay, okay. Anybody else wants to add something to it? Divyam, how about you? Arman, do you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. I want to say that, ma'am, if you're kind to everyone in the group. But if you're like bullying someone or using violence, then you are making that one person feeling alienated from the group. And if you're kind to everyone. So
Right.
that
Okay.
everyone
So
share the benefit.
right. So it is just a quote which says kindness trumps violence. How I perceive it is that if you're kind to somebody, you make more friends. It wins over violence, right? Why do people do that? If you've seen in movies and in your school around, the people who are bullying others, basic intention is that they want to use their power, right? That is why they, I think, feel that demeaning others gives them that kick of being more powerful in whatever way, right? It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be some kids are more outspoken. They feel that we can demean others and say anything because the other one is not saying much, right? So they feel that they're winning over others by demeaning or by bullying them, right? But in in reality, if you are kind to others, you will win more friends, you will have more followers, for more friends, rather than being a bully and then getting people behind you. Those people who are coming behind you, if you are a bully, that means they're just scared of you, they're not your real friends. Do you agree? Are you agreeing with what I'm saying? Right? But if you're
Yeah.
kind, they're your real friends. You're making good friends. You're making friends for life. You're going to help them. They're going to help you at every level, right? So kindness is always better than violence. Although, almost immediately it gives you that notion that you are stronger and everybody is, with you, but it is just because they don't want to be a part of being bullied, right? So that is what it says here. Now these are three important steps that we need to take care. I will just increase the size. The first one, uh, Divyansh, can you read the first one, please?
Ma'am, can you zoom in a little bit more?
Yes, I will do it. Are you able to see
If
it now?
voi
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. If violence rears its ugly head, say no by raising your voice or making gestures. If it is not safe to do this, call for help and scream if necessary.
Right? So maybe it might not be the case when you're talking about your classmates and all, if you're getting bullied within your class. then it is a different situation. But if you have some elder student or somebody who's older than you, if they try and do that, you should. So it is okay to have fun together. Maybe sometimes they try and do such things just for fun. But if it gets ugly, if it is more violent, if you are not able to deal with it, just scream, just call out for somebody. You don't have to listen to that person anymore if you're not liking it, right? And now that you are in class 11th, you'll be going to college, you might face this, right, in college, although it is illegal. But you don't know how people might do it. So if it is in a friendly way, it is fine. But if it goes beyond your limitations, then you should immediately ask for help. Okay, it could be help from your friends, it could be help from your parents, it could be help from your teachers, whoever you feel comfortable with, right? But you should ask, you should never just let it go. Okay, now the second point. Let me see who's going to read. Lakshay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Mm, Go away from the person causing harm. As soon as you get the chance, go to a safe place which has more people around, or immediately get offline if you are being bullied online.
Right? Okay, do you agree with this?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
uh, now again, I would say that the poster is basically showing girls being bullied, but that is not always the case. It is for anybody. It is nothing to do with the gender, right? So if you are being bullied, this is the best way to do that. Stay away from that person, avoid that person. If it is in school or any college premises or something, just don't go that side wherever that person is. Avoid. Okay. Secondly, you could be with people you feel safe with, so that you can protect yourself. Thirdly, if it is online, okay, then you can uh, just leave that social media for a while, because these people don't have patience. If they want to bully somebody, they don't have patience. They'll not keep waiting for you. They will just move on, maybe do whatever they want to do, but they will forget you in a while, right? So that is the best way if it is online. Of course, you all know the rules of all these online platforms, social media, Instagram, all that you use. I don't know what all softwares you use, but whatever you use, you have to be very, very careful. You should make friends only if you know that person physically, right? If you've seen that or met that person, only then you should make friends with that person, right? Don't just, especially this Instagram and Snapchat and all these stuff, and never share your personal information, right? And I'm talking about everybody. It's not about girl, boy, man. It doesn't really matter. Everybody should be careful, right? You don't know how they're using what kind of information, and how they transform that information into something that might hurt you later, right? Now let's look at the third point here. What does it say? Atin, can you read this third point, please? Sorry, just a second.
If you can expand it a bit.
Sorry.
Now it is fine. So,
Yeah.
report the incident to an adult who can help you and stop the perpetrator from continuing such actions.
Right. So this is again very important. Yes, Duane, do you have a question? Okay, Madhav.
No, mom.
Okay. Okay, so it says tell or report the incidents, right? So whenever you face such a bully, you should always go ahead and you should have a confidant who you can share everything with, right? So whether it is your friend, your parent, your teacher, your sister, brother, whoever, but you should identify a person, right? As in, when I'm saying you don't have to wait for somebody to bully you to identify. You should always have that person in your mind that, okay, this is my go-to person in a problem, right? So there has to be a person who will always be with you, who will understand you, who you can share everything with, so that they can help you. Okay, and here they're saying mentioning adult because it is obviously better to share it with an adult because they have more experience than you. They can maybe handle the situation better than somebody who's your age or somebody who's younger than you, right? But that's fine. You can first go to that particular person and then go to an adult. That's perfectly okay. Is that all right? Everyone clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Everyone will follow these rules?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you will
Yes,
not
ma'am.
do the same to anybody else. I hope you understand the sensitivity of this. Do
Yes.
you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Great. Okay. Uh, so let's get back to